live on YouTube for the Thursday edition of the Not Your Average Investor Show, the JWB Rental Property of the Week. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez. With me, as always, the man that I affectionately like to call GC because of his genius concepts, because he knows how to generate cash flow, because he's a great co-host, and because his name is Gregg Cohen. Say hello, Greg.
Hello, everybody. Great to be with you.
And also in the house, we got our community manager who brings us the moments that matter. And that's why we call her MTM. And also because her name is Madison the Magnificent. Say hello, Madison.
Hi, everybody.
And, if you're joining us online and you think we're weird, we are.
Yeah.
But we're better off altogether. So you might as well, come off of that podcast or that YouTube channel, go to NYAIS.com, register to show up live here on a Tuesday or Thursday. Just have a giggle. Have a giggle.
A giggle or two. A gaggle of giggles.
A gaggle of giggles.
There you go.
And be part of what, GC?
The roll call, baby.
We got Madison welcoming everybody in the chat. We got our leadoff hitter, John Henning, wishing everybody a good afternoon. Going a little slow there, GC. We got the MVP of the community.
That would be Mr. Lee Bishop.
Lee Bishop.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Wishing everybody a good afternoon. We got Leo Baragana.
Dun, 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 dun.
Baragana.
Dun, 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 dun.
Good morning, all from the Bay Area, California. Let's rock. We got the ringmaster,
Andrew Barnhill.
Drew Barnhill, in the house from Marietta, California, or Woodstock, California. Woodstock, Georgia,
man.
I was
Get it together.
We got Victor Scarpula is back. I've seen Victor a couple of times.
Yeah, welcome to the party, Victor.
Hey, man, making it a habit, Victor. I appreciate it. We got Tony D.
Tony D hanging out like always.
Anthony did always, when he comes to the IRL meetups, stuff's gonna get
You want to hang out with a really cool dude? Hang out with Tony D.
Hang out with Tony D. Gilda Radner? Do I look like Gilda Radner?
I want to say yes, but no. It wasn't Gilda Radner.
We got Papa Cohen in the house.
What do you know? Pops is hanging out.
Yeah, Jay Cohen.
There we go.
The father of one Sir Gregg Cohen and the original investor.
The original investor.
Right.
The original investor. If you want to talk about the ways that we creatively started to build our rental property portfolio, listen to the last show. Well, Jay Cohen was a big part of that. And that was that original partnership for us.
You're going to want to go back, listen to that show. Just saying. We got the early bird.
Dean Curry.
Checking in from Columbus, Ohio. We got our friend Nadeem Shah, who we finally got to meet this weekend. Did not disappoint, coming in from the West Coast with a good morning, good afternoon. We got Marilyn Kahneman, who is from, where'd you see?
I believe that's Homosassa, Florida.
What happens in Homosassa,
That's
Florida?
the home of the manatees, Pablo.
The manatees, Pablo. That's right. We got the second family of the Not Your Average Investor Show community. The Rileys, our regulars, Rosalind and Gary from Marietta, California.
What do we do? What are you doing with the second family?
Figure out a salute or something. So what else we got going on? We got Walt Hart.
I think that's going to stick.
Yeah. What do you do? Walt Hart back in the house from Middleburg, Florida, the metropolis of Middleburg, Florida. Good to have you, Walt. I heard Middleburg's grown a lot since last time I went down there.
Absolutely.
We got our favorite name to pronounce.
Aaron O'Neill into the nights.
Aaron, good to have you back. We got Leslie Wilson, our dear friend from Denver. We need a nickname for Leslie.
She's definitely earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
I got to work on
Leslie, let us know. Any nickname you've ever had, grade school, high school, college, let us know.
Let us know. Just help a brother out. We got Deborah Schwartz in the house.
All right.
I'm going to call Deborah the witness, the karaoke witness.
She was there.
She was there.
She said you brought your A game.
She saw the she said she saw the real Pablo when she started to do karaoke.
And big ups for her hanging out after a very long day.
That was
all the way to the end.
Few people made it. Deb was
awesome.
definitely hanging. It was a good one. Who else we got? We got a not your average guest. I'm assuming checking in from the text message with a hello JWB fam. Could be Pedro, could be Hervé. I think that fam is a very New Jersey region kind of.
I think you're reading into this a lot. It could be anybody in the world, actually.
Could be
Help us out. Go ahead and change that so we know who you are. You can change your name in the drop down, and then you can continue to be a part of the show, and we'll know who you are.
Oh, Rosalind likes Marietta on your mind. I like that. I like that. We got Bill Shields with a buenas tardes, Greg, Pablo, MTM y amigos.
Buenas tardes, Bill Shields.
Bill Shields, Guillermo Shields. Buenas tardes. And of course, we've got the matriarch and the patriarch of the first family of the Not Your Average Investor Show, Ken and Carolyn Moline.
We salute you.
And the fairy godmother's in the house.
All right.
Jen Pilsen from Monterey, California, saying she had so much fun last week at the tour and Jack's meetup. No doubt, Jen. You made that thing fun. You made that thing fun. All right. So that is one of my favorite segments. But you know what my real favorite segment is, GC?
I know what your favorite segment is. Tell the people.
It's when Madison shares good news.
All right, everybody. So you know how I love to brag on my team. Well, last week they showed just how much they lived through our core values, the doing what's right, not what's easy, being passionate, finding better ways to better lives. All three of those, they really showed how they live every day through those. Super cool. Congratulations to our property management team. We challenged them to beat their previous world record of lease renewals in a week. It was 51. We challenged them to get 55. Last week, they got 55 plus an additional almost 15. They got 71 lease renewals in a week last week.
What numbers did you say, Madison?
71.
Hey, yo, 71.
Crushing it.
Super cool. And we have a little treat for you in a second. With them beating that record, one of our property management supervisors, Kate Taylor, and our data flywheel genius, Tara, said that if they got 55, they would do the famous tortilla challenge that everybody's been doing online. So, Pablo, do you want to?
Yeah, we have video from said famous. Did you know that there was a tortilla challenge online?
So I caught wind of it over emails as we were getting close to beating the record. My team was firing emails left and right. Tara's out there. She's saying, I'm doing the tortilla challenge. You better get those extra lease renewals because we're going to do this, rallying the troops. And the troops showed up. And I was in the front row here recording this. And I'm like, this is gold for so many reasons. So happy to share it with all of you.
Well, I know we shared it in our Not Your Average Investor community on Facebook, but I think it's worth sharing it here on the Not Your Average Investor show officially. This is what crushing your goals looks like at JWB. I'm gonna just press and play.
Yeah, sure. We'll watch like the first minute or two.
And what are we celebrating here just because our friends didn't know?
Our wonderful property management team, I threw them the gauntlet. Their previous world record was 53 lease renewals, and last week they locked up 71 lease renewals. And the gauntlet was thrown that if they got 55, we would do tortilla challenge with property management supervisor Kate and myself, and they surpassed that. So we are doing the tortilla challenge with not only the flour tortillas, but also corn, because they believe that corn will really smack the face.
They're really small, so. Which one do you want to go with first?
Let's do the corn. They went all the way past the 65 that I told them we'd do corn for. So.
All right.
Who gets to hit first?
I'm nervous.
You get to hit first.
I don't want to hurt you. Okay. I'm a right-handy, so you gotta go.
Anticipation's killing me.
I know.
Oh, goodness.
Are you supposed to drink water as you're getting smacked?
You are. You get smacked hard enough with the tortilla and the water shoots out of your mouth. You win or lose. I can't tell.
Look, I'm winning right now.
He's coming after her.
It's usually rock, paper,
Swing and miss.
That's how we roll at the TMM these days.
Yeah, if I haven't spoken about the TMM in a long time, but like the culture at JWB is in full force on the Tuesday morning meeting where they have all 100 teammates in there. I think it's really kind of like the cornerstone of your culture, right? It's where you share all the news, you share the core values and the achievements on core values, and every once in a while you share a little tortilla slap to the face.
You know, we do. We have, and you know what? I think this is just an incredible example of authentic leadership. You know, Tara is not on the property management team. She's a manager of operations for us. And so she has been talking about doing this for like 6 months. You know, and we had never, ever gotten close to 70 lease renewals, but she has been leading in a different capacity, authentically, not directly responsible for property management. But this is the way that JWB rolls, right? We are vertically integrated. When one of our teams does much better, it helps another team do much better. And I just thought this was an awesome example of authentic leadership by Tara. I thought this is incredible for our property management team. I mean, this is such a big win. That's 71 lease renewals. That saves every client that had their property renewed between $6,000 to $7,000 of cost that they don't have to spend. right? Between lost rent or tenant placement fees or other things, 6 to 7 grand every single time. And so, and then, what property management companies get so excited about lease renewals that they start slapping themselves in the face with tortillas? I don't know. Ask yourself that question.
You know what? I don't know if I'm asking myself a question, but I'm ready to make a declaration right now. Madison, that's good news. All right. Okay. So then I guess it's time for the property, but first, we got some breaking news, GC.
We do. And we're just going to do a good old fashioned inventory overview during the breaking news section. Okay. I was thinking to myself, when's the last time we just kind of gave a big picture of what inventory looked like at JWB? And I think now is a great time to do it because we do have this incentive package and the calendar just turned. It's in March now.
We're in March.
And this incentive package goes until the end of March. So this is a great time if you are a new client or a current client and you are considering investing in rental properties. Right now is a great time, especially to take a look at the property of the week today, but to reach out to our team because it usually does take a little bit of time to get that property under contract for you. It might take a few days if you're a current client, you've been with us for 10 years, it might take 2 or 3 weeks if you're a new client. So great time to give you just an overview of inventory. Some notes that I just made. We have 14 properties available that are already rented.
Oh, wow. Okay.
14 properties that are already rented and cash flow positive day one. If we go back a year ago, how many do you think we had available at any time that were already rented?
-1.
Yeah. We didn't have any properties at that point that were built. I mean, we were this close to like waiting lists.
Yeah.
Now we have been able to build out the inventory. We are able to finish the projects and we're able to rent them out many times before we bring them to you. So this is a huge advantage for all of you. We have 8 properties that are priced at $230,000 or below. So
230 or below.
230 or below.
Right.
So kind of getting into that lower priced inventory for the Jacksonville market. We have 8 properties that are priced that way. We have 9 properties that are renovated, which is one of the ways that we get to that lower priced inventory. So if you're somebody who has a limited budget and you are trying to make sure you choose the right property with a limited budget, 9 renovated properties is one of the reasons we're able to have that lower priced inventory. And then over 10 of our properties have 14% IRRs, like the one that we're going to go and magically be whisked away to here in just a minute. So, and then again, all of these properties come with this incentive package. You get roughly $10,000 in incentives when you put a property under contract by March 31st, no limit to that. So what I would advise everybody to do is if you think that rental properties is in your future, if you're significantly trying to add to your rental properties this year, right, this incentive is going away, right? So if you have properties you're thinking about purchasing in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, let's have a conversation about how you can speed that up, speed that forward so that you can take advantage and walk in with a better incentive than you're probably going to see for quite some time.
Okay. I mean, when I hear all that stuff in inventory as an investor myself, I hear risk mitigation, right? Like I hear properties already rented, right? So you're going to be cash flow positive day one. I hear incentive package right now is going to give me an extra 10K of like returns and things in my pocket. I hear money towards the next maintenance credit, all these different things. Feels cool. Feels good. It's very different than a year ago when like market was bonkers. You had to like put a property under contract and it, was going to get finished in construction.
Yeah.
And also had to get rented and stuff like that.
We consistently have had, call it, 10 properties available for as long as I can remember, but the status of those properties has significantly changed. Like we talked about, it would happen. We've been able to continually build those out. And we build those out or we renovate them. And then we try really hard to rent them before we make them available to you. So significant risk mitigation built in today that you didn't necessarily have a year ago because the market was bonkers.
There you go. All right. Sounds good, man. Well, I think it's time now to look at some of that inventory as we magically whisk ourselves away here to oil country and 8106 Galveston Ave, Jacksonville, Florida, 32211. It's got a purchase price of $268,000. It's got a monthly rent of $1,621. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 1,509 square foot. Construction status is finished. It's got an average duration of resident stay of 4.5 years. It's got a best-in-class annual appreciation rate of 4.6%. But of course, us not average investors, this is what we're looking at here, this IRR of 14.76%, of course, bolstered by the the investor incentive that is still in place here till the end of March. But GC, what do you love about this property?
Thought you would never ask. Literally thought you would never ask. But I'll tell you what I love about this property. In addition to the incentive package here, this property is brand new construction. With brand new construction, you get a few things that are absolutely working in your favor. One of the things we talked a lot about on the Not Your Average Investment tour last Saturday when we were on site, we were at a different new construction property, and somebody in the crowd, I think it was Steven, asked, hey, is that homeowner's insurance premium real? You know, are you able to spend $500 or less on homeowner's insurance per year? I heard it was a lot higher. Is that real? And the answer, of course, was yes. And the reason that's possible is because of new construction. You have much lower homeowners insurance premiums. So that is certainly one thing that I love. You also have lower maintenance and vacancy costs because everything's brand new. It's brand new property. So we love lower insurance costs, maintenance costs, and vacancy costs. That's one of the reasons we still can achieve positive cash flow when it comes to new construction homes here in the Jacksonville market. A couple other things I love about this home is it's already rented, like we talked about. So cash flow positive from day one, risk mitigation built in, and it comes with rent escalations. Every one of our leases comes with rent escalations. So this resident will have their rent increase to $1,678 beginning in August of 2023. So cash flow will continue to go up, just like we talk about, and why rental properties are like a fine wine, baby. They just get better with time.
Like a fine wine. Do you see this picture here of this new construction home looks a lot like the home that we walked on the live POTW last week, right? Am I mistaken, or is this the same floor plan?
I think it is the same floor plan.
It is the same floor plan. Why don't you tell the folks kind of how like the different floor plans and how you think about, because a lot of these new construction homes look alike. Is that an economies of scale thing? Is that how many floor plans do you guys have? It
comes down to, we know what works in these neighborhoods. We're trying to maximize your return on investment, which means we're trying to maximize your rental income coming in. We're trying to limit your expenses. And we're also trying to limit your all-in costs right off the bat, right? This model right here, the 3.2 or 3.5 1509, is a model that we build all over our 4 neighborhoods in Jacksonville. So the house we were looking at was on Pangola Street. Pangola, like Ricola. That, you remember what part of town that was?
It's just totally. I've just been conditioned to say that. That was the west side.
It was the west side of Jacksonville.
That's right.
Do you know where this one is?
Galveston, I would say southeast Texas side.
Well done. Seeing how well you know the zip codes.
Yeah.
This is in Arlington,
which
is also probably in the southeast part of Texas side. But no, we're talking about Arlington and Jacksonville,
I think that's
Florida.
Geographically accurate.
Yeah, I don't know where Arlington, Texas is. Somewhere. That state's big. Everything's bigger there.
I think it's close to Dallas, which is right square in the middle. Anyways, this is in the Arlington neighborhood of Jacksonville. Not to get people confused here. This is a Jacksonville rental property. Okay, cool. So it works because so why is that, GC? Why is it that like the same floor plan works? Is that just a floor plan that would work everywhere in Jacksonville? Or is this kind of because the neighborhoods all have the same qualities?
Well, it first starts with being in the right neighborhood. We want to be in workforce housing type neighborhoods because the rental demand there is strong compared to the price of the home. When you're in the right neighborhood, yeah, probably this type of a home and this type of a build would probably work in any of our 4 neighborhoods because you just want to be in those, relatively smaller type of homes, right? 1,200 maybe to about 1,600, 1,700 square feet is where we're going to live. If you started to build homes that are 2,500 square feet, your rents would not be as high for the dollars, or the rent dollars would not be as high compared to the square footage. So rent per square foot would not be as high because rents in that neighborhood, you don't have a lot of homes that are 2,500 square feet in those neighborhoods. And the purchase price of those homes for a 2,500 square foot home would be a lot higher, right? Many times the build cost is a lot higher for a 2,500 square foot home than it is for a 1,500 square foot home. So you take all of that, and again, this is 17 years of experience for us doing this. And this is one of the reasons that we tend to use the same models over and over and over. And they're in different parts of town, right? The 4 different neighborhoods that we invest in, you'll see a ton of 3, 2.5, 1509s.
Okay, sounds good, man. Every time you say for the first time today, I think when you said 17 years of experience, it hit me different. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's so easy to look at you and you're like this like young dude, right? Like you're a young whippersnapper. With
Yeah. I'm not in your generation, am I?
very, very, very vibrant. And like, look, to think that you've been running this business for 17 years is kind of like, just doesn't, like come together, man.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that is
I don't know how accurate that is, but I'll take that.
that's a long time. That's a long time of a lot of data and a lot of real applied learning and a lot of iteration and a lot of refining processes, if I know anything about entrepreneurship, which I know a very little bit about. All right, speaking of rent prices, our buddy Walt Hart out in Middleburg, may or may not be related to Brett the Hitman Hart, that's TBD, has a question. Greg, are rents typically directly proportional to the purchase prices of the houses? Higher price of home equals higher rent, etc.
Walt, great question. So glad you asked that. And his question about rent prices, are they directly proportional to purchase prices? The answer is no.
Oh,
The answer is no, right? The rents that you get compared to the purchase price for a home in this neighborhood, your rent to price ratio will be significantly better than a property you are purchasing out in Atlantic Beach or Jacksonville Beach, where home prices are significantly high and there's not as much rental demand. So that at the core of it, the answer to that question is no. And that's why we want to be in workforce housing neighborhoods, because that ratio of rent to price is super strong there. And it's also risk mitigated there. Whereas you have different forms of riskiness that you face in either the super high end neighborhoods or the super low end neighborhoods, which we don't want to be in either.
first of all, Walt, great question. Very rarely
Absolutely.
do we get a question that has never been asked before and is also like a, okay, like I'm like, oh, okay, let's get into that, right? So it's not directly proportional. Workforce housing neighborhoods represent this. I've heard you say it differently. I've heard you say that you only invest in neighborhoods that are lower than average median price and higher than average median rent. Is that kind of like another way of saying that?
Yeah, between rents and prices, the great kind of like equalizer to this is your rent to price ratio.
Rent to price ratio.
Right. So you want to be in a neighborhood that has a good enough rent to price ratio that you can achieve positive cash flow. The rent to price ratio in some of the really high end neighborhoods, or even just above middle income neighborhoods, the rent to price ratio is a lot lower. Your purchase prices are higher, your market values are higher, and because you don't have as much rental demand, you're not keeping pace. It's not proportional for your rents that you get there.
Why does that happen? Is there like, do you understand like the market conditions of why that happens? Is there an explanation to that?
Yeah, supply and demand, right? If you have a whole lot more home owners in that area that can buy, right? You have more demand for purchase prices. So it goes up in those neighborhoods. If you have a whole lot of people that can and do want to buy, you have a lower percentage of people that want to rent in those neighborhoods. So the demand for rentals is not as strong in the higher end, above middle income, and then higher end neighborhoods. And yeah, so man, I love this question, Walt. This is great. And
Yeah,
this is the reason why we choose those four neighborhoods.
Yeah, this is good stuff, man. So that makes a lot of sense to me, right? Like I would put myself as someone that could buy and live in one of these properties, but I want to buy and live in a, closer to Atlantic Beach, closer to the beach and stuff like that. But I'm not going to, if I do buy a home that's more expensive, I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to go out and rent a place that has that level of rent while I would rent something cheaper just to, kind of like be closer somewhere, something like that. Right. So I lived that experience as well. Whereas I guess what you're saying here in between the lines is in these more expensive neighborhoods, right? It's discretionary income to rent there. Because if you're going to rent there, you can afford another home somewhere a little bit further, but you're just choosing to rent there at a lower price. Whereas in these neighborhoods where JWB invests in, the choice is not am I renting or am I buying? The choice is I can really only afford to rent, and I want to be in the best kind of like home inside of one of these rental neighborhoods that I can afford.
Absolutely. It's not the same choice in our neighborhoods for people who are renting. Many just cannot buy
for credit
down payment, especially as home prices have gone up.
Yeah.
So all that means is that more rental demand comes to these neighborhoods, which ultimately reflects in higher rent prices and a better rent to price ratio.
Got it. Man, great question. Well, I love when we can get into like brand new angles on stuff that hasn't happened in 200 plus shows.
Love it.
Phenomenal. Derek Nelson. Derek, I'm not sure if I've said your name before. That's a new name.
Welcome to the party.
Derek has a question. Is 3% annual escalator standard, and has it historically fluctuated with the market? Sounds like a sophisticated investor out here.
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question. Yeah. So he's talking about 3% increases in your operating expenses, things like your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance costs. 3%, is that an industry standard? Is that normal? And the answer is yes. You know, we've been able to track our property taxes, our homeowner's insurance costs, other operating expenses, and we've been able to see that those costs have gone up over the 10 plus years that we've been tracking it for clients. And I do see that across the industry. Many people actually do use kind of a 3% operating expense increase. And that's actually an industry standard that I think is accurate. So yeah, it's pretty normal.
Okay, great. But it's all data, right? It's all comes from the data flywheel that you can actually hit that thing. All right, there you go. Shout out to Tara again, mother of flywheels. Couple mentions today on the show: Tortilla Challenge and mother of flywheels.
There
all
you
right.
go.
Jag, we missed you at the meetup. I thought you were coming, and then I guess it didn't work out.
Yeah, we missed you.
Person. Jag's got a question. Gregg, would you facilitate seller financing between your investors for resale properties?
Great question, Jag. Thanks for asking. I know this was a question that you were sending into my team as well. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here. I think for those questions, everybody really benefits when we're able to talk about it on the show too.
That's why we have the show.
Love it.
Yeah.
So Jag's asking about seller financing. You know what seller financing is?
When you're going to buy my home and instead of getting a loan from the bank, you're giving me an IOU for the price of whatever you haven't paid me up front.
Yeah. Like the seller becomes the bank as well as the seller. Typically you have the buyer, the seller, and the bank. They all come together. This would be as if the seller was the bank. And so instead of the seller receiving all the proceeds from the sale immediately at the sale, it would be the seller waiting to receive the proceeds of the sale and then executing a note and a mortgage and getting paid over time.
Yeah. So the seller getting the interest rate that the bank would be getting in a mortgage instead of the bank getting it.
Exactly. So it can be something that works. You know, we have purchased properties through seller financing. The very first office building we ever bought, not this one, and not the one that we're going to be moving to, but the very, very first one we bought with seller financing. So it can be a great thing for the seller and for the buyer. But her question is about selling turnkey properties. We don't sell our properties through seller financing. Most turnkey providers, I don't know of a single one that actually does. So it's not very common. And I think her question is, would we or would another turnkey company facilitate investors selling their properties through seller financing? And I have yet to see that. We don't do that. When you buy a property from JWB, you buy it from us. Our name is on that. The warranties that come along with it are from JWB and from our contractors. And so there's a lot that goes into when clients buy properties from us, knowing that our brand, our reputation is behind it. So we don't facilitate investors buying from each other. So unfortunately, that's not going to be a strategy that's going to work. Definitely not for JWB. And I just have never seen it from other turnkey providers either.
What would be the incentive as let's say me, let's say I'm not, I'm not JWB, obviously.
Right.
I wish I was. But that being said, like if Jag wanted to buy one of my 3 rental properties, what would be an incentive for me as the person selling that property to offer seller financing to Jag?
It would be hard to see a situation where it would be a benefit to you and a benefit to Jag, in my opinion.
Explain that.
Well, so like where it could be a benefit to you would be you could decide that you no longer wanted to own rental properties. You, in essence, wanted to become more of a lender, right? A benefit to being a lender is when tenants move in or tenants move out, you don't have any maintenance cost or vacancy cost. So maybe you're just like, hey, listen, I'm at this point in my life where I don't want to deal with any of the risk of maintenance and vacancy. I'm okay with not seeing the upside of appreciation. I just want steady check coming in. You want to basically become a lender. Well, you might decide to do that, But, on your rental properties, like this one on Galveston that we're looking at,
Mhm.
overall, you're earning a 14.7% return on your money
Mhm.
every year.
Mhm.
So, if you're going to switch from from owner of rental property to private lender,
Mhm.
maybe you take some type of a discount of your return on investment, but it's not going to be
To
much.
hedge risk, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Okay.
I mean, you're giving up a lot, right? You're giving up upside. So I don't know, maybe you drop to maybe 10% that you want to earn as a lender
Mhm.
to do it. So in essence, and I'm just making that number up, you might say, hey, listen, 14% is the lowest I want to go,
Yeah. Or 13
or 13
12
or
something.
whatever, but it's
Yeah.
certainly not going to be 7,
Yeah. Yeah.
So on the other side, for this investment property to produce positive cash flow,
Mhm.
there's no way it's going to work at 10% interest that Jag would have to pay on it,
Got it.
because
Yeah.
that's the flip side. She has to pay 10% interest on it. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't, and I'm really glad you asked that question, because for most situations, it just doesn't seem like there's going to be a fit where everybody wins.
Yeah.
Where, the seller financing properties that I have purchased all had different characteristics to it. Like, for example, it was our office, right? I was not buying it to rent out.
Mhm.
I was buying it for our office space. So different characteristics. It absolutely is something that you can find a win-win for folks,
Mhm.
but turnkey rental properties typically not.
Got it. Jack says it would be a major tax benefit to me
be a major tax benefit to you
if I wanted to do seller financing.
Help me understand that a little bit more, because there are tax advantages, but owning the property is a major tax benefit as well. So help me understand that a little bit more, Jack.
Cool. So wait, from what I'm understanding, it's like if I was motivated to get rid of this property because I lost faith in my ability to produce a return and I was having a bad experience because I didn't have a good team managing it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get rid of it and, didn't want to go through a big wait or something, then maybe that would be something.
Yeah, but you're probably not going to want to hold the paper. Another way of saying seller financing is holding the paper.
Yeah.
If you're having that bad of an experience, what are the chances that you're going to be open to selling the property?
Betting on the next person having.
Yeah, because then you're just the lender on that same property. You're probably just going to sell it, without seller financing.
Okay. Well, Jack is saying she doesn't want to hijack the conversation. I think it's a great conversation, Jack. I appreciate it.
That's why we're here.
I'm learning a lot. That's why we're here. So thank you, Jack, for pitching that in there and getting the conversation going. We got another one from our new friend, Derek Nelson.
All right.
Derek, I'll jump in with both feet here. Are you looking for lender partners? My company does not report on your private credit if you close an LLC. Big advantage if you do multiple deals.
That's great to know, Derek. At this time, we're not looking for additional lending partners. Our lending network is super strong and it's really small, right? And that's on purpose, right? We want to make sure that we can control the experience for our clients coming in, especially over the last year as interest rates have fluctuated at an incredible rate. We want to make sure that we have a good pulse on the lending market. And so we do that with a relatively small group of lenders that we have a ton of trust and experience with. So not something that we're looking for right now. Won't say no for forever. Happy to, it'd be great if you wanted to send an email. You can send an email to info@jwbcompanies.com, introduce yourself. That'll make it to our service team who's in control of the closings, and, just good to kind of reach out. And then maybe at some point in the future, but those opportunities for new lenders to join our network, they come around very few and very far between, because, for lenders in our network, they love doing what they're doing because they're a part of our network. We love them, and those relationships are really solid. So won't close the door on it, but it's probably not likely something in the near future.
All right. And I'm seeing in the chat, there's people wanting to meet you. So we're making connections out here in the community. And I think that's great that you came by, Derek. We got a couple of folks from this, from the tour dropped in. Ernie dropped in.
I just saw that name. Yeah. Ernie, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Good to have you on the show, Ernie. I think this is the first time he comes on the show.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah. So welcome to the community, man. And Kelly Barenbaum, who puts in here that she is moving forward with her first JWB property.
All right. Way to go.
Awesome,
Boom.
yeah.
Virtual high five, Kelly.
Yeah.
You know what? You have a ride along partner with Jag. Well, I had a ride along partner on the bus at the tour, and her name's Kelly Barenbaum. So.
All right. I see what happened. I had a great conversation with Kelly. She was just talking about how communities are being acquired by companies. I'm like, look, Kelly, are you in tech or something? And she's like, no, I'm a financial advisor. Guess what? Kelly's going to be coming on the show one of these days.
Love that.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah, we
All
talked about
right.
it. We want to hear the perspective of a financial advisor and how they see real estate. So super pumped to have her join us at some point here in the next quarter or so. Right.
Love
so
that.
Hold your breath. All right, GC. Anything else, man? Anything else that you think we should be talking about with this property? I feel like this has been a pretty good one. Great crowd participation.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty great, man.
All right, man. So, another great Thursday, another great POTW. We love having these sessions with new folks, with community people that we've met before. Great questions. MVP today is Walt for the day, Lee. Don't get crazy. For the day.
Can't throw that moniker around
Yeah.
so haphazardly.
Yeah. But a really, really good question from Walt. Great dialogue from Jag and Derek and new folks coming to the show. We really can't do this without you. Like we are very, very grateful that you take, today was 40 minutes. Most of the time it's about an hour, middle of the work week to come hang out with us, make connections in the chat, ask great questions, make our job easy, and tell other people about this, right? Like tell a friend. I don't know if y'all know, but we have a podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a podcast and a YouTube channel, and we're totally lamenting that we didn't get everybody to download the podcast.
I know.
In the IRL tour. So if you have a phone with a podcast app, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we'd really, really appreciate it. It helps get other folks into this community if the platform sees a lot of people downloading. So if you guys can when you get off here, just download the podcast, subscribe to it either on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or whatever you do. It would be super helpful to me and GC here. And I just really, really want to thank you for being a part of this. GC, I'll give you final words.
Yeah. And I would love to ask you to bring your friends and your family because it helps us and all that good stuff. But we're really dedicated to growing this community the right way. We don't spend money on ads to drive people to come to our show. It grows organically, and we have hundreds of you that show up every single week. And it is this incredible thing. But the most important thing is it's people like you, right? I feel like we have our own little corner of the internet here.
Yep.
And it became so real, especially this past weekend when we got to hang out with so many of you. So yeah, I just love the fact that we'd love to have you refer somebody that you think is like you.
Yeah.
Because that's how this show stays so special. So thank you in advance. The show, it would be great for them to attend live. I think that's the ultimate experience.
Yeah.
So go into NYAIS.com. The podcast is supplemental to that too, right? You can listen to all the shows there, or YouTube. You can listen to and watch the show live on YouTube or on replay.
Yep.
So
Tuesday, big one coming up on Tuesday.
I'm glad you remind me about that too.
Yeah.
So, for all of you who really want an in-depth
It's
look.
actually a bit late breaking news. We're changing this thing, right?
Wow. Now I thought maybe we'll get like a trumpet too. I mean,
No, this is breaking news.
this is breaking news.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't talked about this yet.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Well, this is breaking news. For all of you who want to know what is going on, a deep dive into the Jacksonville real estate market. This Tuesday show is for you. This is our quarterly Jacksonville real estate market update. I think now is even more important to dive into the numbers here. I have some really awesome stuff to share with you that nobody's talking about, that the media really has no perspective on when it comes to home prices in Jacksonville. And I've been doing the research. I'm excited to share it with all of you on Tuesday. I think we all need a little bit of data and perspective to help us kind of understand what is going on in this asset class, especially versus other asset classes. And, that's what I hope to share with you guys on Tuesday. I hope to just give you that kind of ammo that you need to feel really good about the decision to invest in rental properties, especially compared to other alternatives out there.
Small tweak too, right? We used to do this for clients only, and
Yes.
now we're opening it up to the whole community, right?
Yes, absolutely. So, for you all who are here live on the show, it's the same link. So be here just like you always are for current clients, or for those who, for current clients, you're going to get a special email invitation for those who might not be listening to this live. So hope to have a lot of clients. We should have a huge turnout for the show on Tuesday. And then for anybody on the podcast, if you would like to be a part of this, just go to NYAIS.com and you'll get that special invitation to be here on Tuesday for the show.
There you go. Big week coming up. We got the market update. GC's got some secret information that he's been digging up. And all we ask is that you invite a friend, but we also ask that they can't be average. See you next week.
See you, everybody.